In our last episode, we destroyed the calculator's external power supply at Buena Vista. We have now forced the calculator to rely solely upon the power provided by Vault Zero, making it harder to support a robot army. Arriving back at Bunker Epsilon, we can see if the quartermaster has anything new in stock, and he does. In the small gun section, we find a Gauss Rifle. The M72 Gauss Rifle is of German design. It uses an electromagnetic field to propel 2mm steel rounds at tremendous speed and pierce almost any obstacle. Its range, accuracy, and stopping power is almost unmatched. It has a minimum strength requirement of 6 and uses the 2mm EC ammunition type. This weapon does between 60 and 80 damage with a range of 50 and an ammo capacity of 20. It's just superior to any other rifle we have, dwarfing the plasma rifle in damage, range, and ammo capacity, and at the exact same AP cost. As it uses the small gun skill instead of energy weapons, we'll have to give this to Dylan, as Clarice's small gun skill is still really low. Then, checking out energy weapons, we find another brand new rifle, the YK-42B Pulse Rifle. The YK-42B is an electromagnetic pulse weapon that was developed by the Yuma Flats Energy Consortium. It is considered a far superior weapon to the YK-32 pistol, having a greater charge capacity and range. It has a minimum strength requirement of 6, uses microfusion cells as ammunition, and weighs 9 pounds. It does between 54 and 78 damage, with a range of 30. An ammo capacity of 12, but it costs 1 less AP to fire than the Gauss Rifle. That makes it one of the best energy rifles in the game, dealing more damage than the plasma rifle, but with only slightly less range and a slightly better ammo capacity. We'll give this to Clarice to make use of her energy weapons skill. In the ammo section, we find 200 rounds of 2mm EC cartridges. We'll go ahead and snag all of these for Dylan despite the cost. And then in the armor section, we find a brand new type of armor, Tesla armor. It's selling for over $11,000. This shining armor provides superior protection against energy attacks. The 3 Tesla attraction coil rods disperse a large percentage of directed energy attacks, and it weighs 40 pounds. Now, the Tesla armor is interesting, and it's not really a good choice in my opinion. And to understand why, we have to have a good understanding of how AC, damage resistance, and damage threshold work in Fallout Tactics. The higher armor class, or AC an armor has, the greater chance that armor has to deflect damage. The higher the AC, the more likely an enemy is to miss. The problem is that the Tesla armor's AC is 15. Half of that of the power armor, which has an AC of 30, and worse than the advanced power armor, which has an AC of 35. The higher damage threshold an armor has, the more likely that armor is to completely stop all damage that gets through an armor's AC. So if a piece of armor doesn't deflect the damage, it still might be able to stop that damage from actually harming the wearer if it has high enough DT. So an enemy might hit you, but that hit might do 0 damage. The problem with the Tesla armor is that it has about half the damage threshold compared to power armor for almost every damage type, with the exception of energy. But even then, the Tesla armor only has 15 damage threshold compared to power armor's 16 and advanced power armor's 17. So even at this point, we're better protected against everything, including energy damage, if we wear power armor. Where Tesla armor shines is only in energy damage resistance. The higher an armor's damage resistance, the less damage we take from hits that first make contact, getting past AC, and then do damage, getting past damage threshold. Here, the Tesla armor has worse damage resistance than power armor for every damage type except for electric and energy damage. It has the same electric damage resistance as power armor, 10, but far superior energy damage resistance than power armor, 85 compared to 50 for power armor and 55 for advanced power armor. I chose not to use the Tesla armor because I'm much more likely to avoid damage altogether by wearing either of the two power armors. And power armor is going to be better against far more types of damage that we might encounter. When done working on our gear, we can head to the recruits pool. We don't find any new recruits available. But after Buena Vista, I decided to retire HR 1205. He's an interesting robot. I'm glad to have robots in the party, but robots don't earn perks. They're stuck with just the traits that they have when we get them. We can upgrade their skills, but we are stuck with the special stats and traits that they have. HR 1205's hit points is only 54, compared to the hit points of every other character in our party, which is well over 100. So it was fun running with a robot, but I decided to put him back in the recruits pool and get Alice back. With our squad back together, we can head to General Decker to find out what comes next.
At ease, warrior. The robots have captured a man known as Bartholomew Kerr. As you may know, Kerr is a merchant that has been using the Brotherhood's network of bunkers as stopping points to peddle his wares. His knack for appropriating hard-to-find items has helped the Brotherhood in the past. All for a price, of course. Unfortunately, this has given him an extensive knowledge of the locations and populations of several Brotherhood bunkers. This knowledge makes Kerr a threat that cannot be ignored. Go to Scott City. That is where intelligence has located a robot facility where we believe he is being kept. Rescue him if possible. Our interrogators will find out if any information was leaked to the enemy. If you can't rescue him, he must be neutralized. Understand that if the robots succeed in extracting our positional information, we will soon fall to a concentrated assault. We cannot hope to match them in a stand-up fight. If we have to go on the defensive, we are lost. You have your orders. Dismissed.
Oh no! The robots have captured Kerr the merchant. That's why we didn't find him at Bunker Epsilon. And I'm a bit conflicted here. If we can't rescue him, we have orders to end him. Well, I hope it doesn't come to that. Hopping into the tank, we can make our way to Scott City. We find it pretty close by. It's just northwest of Bunker Epsilon. Upon arrival, we can look at the map. We arrive on the western side of the map. This is our insertion point. Just west of us, we find a number of small gray circles. There are several towers of robot construction, which the Brotherhood believes interfere with Brotherhood of Steel tactical minimaps. Locating and destroying the towers will neutralize the effect. And we find 4 of them in total. I haven't really found the tactical minimaps to be of much use so far, but we'll get rid of these anyway for the experience. Then near to one of the towers on the northern side of the map, we find a larger complex. This appears to be some kind of internment camp. And then on the eastern side of the map, we find our objective. This huge industrial complex is the most likely location of our target. That's where we will find Kerr. Well, before we go into the industrial complex to look for Kerr, let's start by destroying these robotic towers. We see one inside this complex just to the west of us, and one along a dirt road just outside of it. Near to it, we find a break in the fence that leads inside. We'll snag the first tower, then enter from there. Now, we do see a big rectangular section to the northwest. It appears to be disconnected from the rest of the map. It's not near any objective, but for the sake of completion, we'll start by moving north to see what's there, then going back to the road, and following the dirt path to the south to find the first tower. Moving north, we find a wasteland, ruined buildings, junked cars, and as for enemies, only one scurry bot. On the far northwest corner, hugging the edge of the map, we do find a ruined 2-story structure, and hiding in the corner on the first floor is a box safe. I tried picking it with Clarice, but it looked difficult. Her skill was not high enough to access it. I really wanted to find out what was in here, so at a later date, I came back with Babs, who has excellent lockpicking skill, but she too couldn't access it, even when I had 2 advanced lockpicking kits equipped. This is with a character who at the time had 203 in lockpicking. I had 2 points to spend. I brought this up to 205. Then I tried again, and it still was too difficult. With a modified skill of 205. This has got to be a glitch or oversight or something. I looked it up later, and there are quite a few people complaining about this safe online. Most couldn't get in, but I did find a report from one user who said that he was able to pick it with a skill of 205, which is exactly what I had with Babs, and yet I couldn't get in. But according to his report, inside was just 5 pieces of plastic explosives, 3 afterburner gum, and 1 ultra stim pack. Not even worth it. But that's it for this northwestern section of the map, so heading back to our insertion point on the road, we can move southeast towards the dirt road we saw on Echo Boy surveillance. We almost immediately come under fire from Hoverbach. But then we get attacked by a behemoth from the north. I can already tell that this mission is gonna be a pain. The behemoth was carrying a huge stack of 50 caliber ammunition, perfect for Cookie's Browning. Now here we do find a gap in the fence leading to the complex just to the west, but we're gonna continue with our plan and going around this fence first to get rid of that tower, and then moving in from its southern entrance. As we continue to follow the road, we encounter a scurry bot. Then as the road moves west, we run into more robots. While destroying the robots, we accidentally destroyed one of these towers, and it appears to be some sort of radar dish. It's a jamming tower. Well, 1 down, 4 to go. As we continue west along the road, scurry bots spawn behind us and charge us. Then we get attacked by a pacification bot from the west. At last we arrive at the break in the fence we saw on the minimap. To the west we see another pathway towards the road bisecting this map, but we'll focus on this complex to the north first. Stepping inside, we see an alarm console just outside a building. As we get close, scurry bots. If we tried to access the alarm console, oh, it was booby-trapped. But then, robots spawned from the north. They ignore us and go straight towards the alarm console. Oh no! And they trigger the alarm. And I have no idea what will happen if they do this. Do more robots spawn? Do they kill Kerr? Well, I didn't want to risk it, so reloading a save, we can try this again to destroy the robots before they can activate the alarm. Sending our snipers to climb to the second floor of this building, we can put Cookie on the first floor and then position the rest of our squad around this machinery to destroy them before they can get to the alarm console. And it works. At the top of this building, we find a door. But even though I was using both advanced lockpicking kits, Clarice couldn't pick this lock. It looked too difficult. I ended up having to come back with Babs later to find out what was in this room. Inside, we find the corpse of a civilian. He was carrying a 44 M29 revolver, some iguana on a stick, some stim packs, and ammunition. Then, in a metal shelf against the wall, we find a copy of Guns and Bullets magazine and one first aid kit. Looks like I need to invest in Clarissa's lockpicking skill. I hope the rest of the locks on this map are a bit easier. The bottom floor of this building is completely empty. Moving north of here, we find a few shipping canisters. Using a ladder, we can climb on top of them. But as soon as we do, Clarice finds another behemoth! Whoa! We can race inside for shelter. He doesn't appear to see us. Stepping up the northern side, however, Clarice gets attacked by a few more robots inside this junkyard. As we try to bring her back, we destroy one, but there are a few more out there. After healing up, we can move north to find them. This boxcar is empty. We find a little pathway between these boxcars that we can go into to explore the second one. After destroying a robot inside, we find a chest at the foot of the bed. Inside, some grenade ammunition for our grenade launcher, a stim pack, and some Molotov cocktails. Moving north, we find a hoverbot hiding around the corner. We can send in Cookie. Gosh, those rockets are a pain. We find the next jamming tower here. Moving up to destroy it, we get attacked by even more robots. Two more hoverbots in the middle of the road. Looks like we have to fight them out there. But during the battle, we destroyed the next jamming tower. 2 down, 2 to go. Moving south, we can finish exploring this junkyard. We find more scurry bots. Moving south, we pass by a toilet graveyard, a number of boxes, some rebar lying on the floor. We find another shipping container, but no door to enter it. And climbing a ladder, we don't find anything on the roof. Moving north, we pass by a bunch of tires, a ruined fridge, with another scurry bot, and against a northern wall, we find an ice chest. Inside, a stinky meat platter. Moving west, we destroy what will hopefully be the last scurry bot in this junkyard, and when done, we can head out a gap in the fence to the north to arrive back at the primary road. Well, we know there are some hoverbots waiting for us to the east, but we find an opening to the complex to the north where Echo Boy's surveillance told us the robots may be holding prisoners. Well, it looks like I should have gone for the hoverbots first. At least they're gone now. We know there's at least one robot hiding on the other side of this Nuka-Cola truck, inching forward with Alice. Yeah, there he is. I tried to move around to the other side to surprise him, but before I could, he stepped out of cover. Here we find the next jamming tower, and we can destroy it from a distance. There is a door in the side of this building, but before going inside, I wanted to make sure the exterior was clear. Moving forward. Man, these guys are around every corner. Continuing west, we round a corner, then move north. We find another building, and the door is open. Stepping inside. We destroy a security bot. Here we find a gate. Opening it, we arrive in a prison cell. We find 3 prisoners behind bars. The cell doors are locked, so using Clarice we can successfully unlock these. Unlocking the first one, we can open it to discover a super mutant.
Warrior! Warrior! Free me! Allow me the honor to die fighting! No, I don't mean I'm going to fight you, damn it! Let me out so I can give those gear-spinning wretches some real reasons to hate mutants!
Well, it looks like this guy wants to join us. Hurry up! Revenge awaits, he says. I'm going to kill them all! But talking with him again.
My thanks. After months in confinement, I will have my revenge. Gamoran was right. The robot menace must be put down. You must be here for that very purpose. Gamoran had a Brotherhood saying, there is strength in numbers. I will not doubt him again, and I will seek out my lord when I am done here. Tell me when you are ready to teach the robots about pain, and I will help you.
Looks like we need to talk with him a final time to tell him that we're ready. And if we do so, he says, about time! Follow me to battle. He races out of the building. Following him, we can see where he goes, but he doesn't get very far. As he's just about to leave this section, he gets destroyed by hoverbots. Yikes! Well, for all this guy's talk, he's not very resilient. So instead of releasing him to race off to his death, I decided to keep him here for now. We'll see what happens if we come back for him later. In the next cell, we find a guy wearing a tiara.
Ho, 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 ho. It's about time you Brotherhood scumbags showed up. Are you gonna free me, or am I gonna have to have a little talk with your commanders? Hey, I got a great idea. You open up this stupid cage and do your stupid job and get me out of here. I've been in here for 16 hours already. Do you know who I am? Do you have any idea who I am? You stupid ghoul-licking son of a gun! Get me out of here!
What a jerk. I think the game is tempting us to kill him, but instead of killing him, we can go ahead and pick the lock to his cell. As soon as we do, he shouts, "Brotherhood of Suckers! Good thing I didn't time you!" Then he races out, leaves the building, and exits the map using a gap in the fence to the north. Well, at least he's smart enough not to charge to his death. There is a final cell here. Inside, a woman says, "Hey, anyone?" Opening the gate, we can talk to her.
Thank you, stranger. I've been in this cell for quite some time now, and I don't know if I got anywhere to go now that I'm free. Don't know if you noticed, but they're cutting up the humans here, so you better watch out. It's almost funny that this must be the only place in the whole world where humans are worse off than ghouls. You ain't the first Brotherhood guy in here either. General Darmaky or something.
Darnaky? Did she mean General Barnaky?
Barnaky, that's it. That mean old bastard actually spat on me when they hauled his ass in here, and he certainly ain't got no kind word for no ghouls. Oh, but I still shudder when I remember how he was screaming when they dragged him out and did stuff to him. Sounding like someone was sawing a loud pig in half. Oh, don't wish that on nobody.
Oh no! Barnaky's here? And he was screaming? Oh God. I hope we can find him in one piece. Elaine here appears to be halfway through her transition to becoming a ghoul. Her portrait looks like a ghoul face, but her sprite looks like a human. After releasing her, she too races out of the building and leaves using the gap in the fence to the north. Going back to her cell, we do find one pot inside that we can loot. Inside the pot is a house key. It's not exactly clear what this house key is for, but remember that locked door at the very top of the building in the junkyard that had a lock that was so difficult Clarice couldn't pick it and I had to go get Babs? Well, looks like that was wasted effort because this key opens that door. I already showed you what was inside, so I don't need to do it again, but good news for those of us whose lockpicking isn't quite high enough. Moving out, we can head west to explore these other buildings, and as we get close, our squad can target a robot through the windows, but there's no door on this side of the building. Moving to the northern side, we don't find one there, but we do find one on the southern side. However, a robot hides in this alleyway. Well, we can get him. Moving into the alleyway, we find the door is locked. Thankfully, Clarice can open this one. Heading inside, we find another cell. The door to the cell is locked, but Clarice can open this one. Moving in, we find a few living people, but half a dozen butchered corpses. Talking with the survivors. Come here often. Oh, jeez. Is he trying to be funny? Where should we go now? Stinking robots. We can pick yet another gate. We find a room where we killed that robot from outside, and here we find even more corpses and barrels filled with human body parts. What are these robots torturing and dismembering people for fun? What is the point of all of this? Lying on the ground amidst the carnage is a copy of Maddox's Tricks and Traps. After opening the cell doors, the survivors don't appear to be in any hurry to leave. We'll let them go at their leisure. We have one more building here. Sending Dylan and Clarice, they can fire at more robots through the windows. With the robots dead, we can send the snipers to the door. Here Dylan picks up another hoverbot. He destroys it easily with his Gauss Rifle. Clarice can pick the door. Stepping inside, we find a bit of an office, but nothing we can interact with. There is a gate leading to the other section of the room. It's locked, but we can pick it. I thought that maybe there would be some traps in this room, so bring it in, Harold. We can explore the entire place, but we don't find any traps. Instead, we find one crate, and inside, 8 pieces of dynamite. Nice. With this section explored, we now have 3 of the jamming towers destroyed. 1 more to go, and then we move on to find Kerr. Heading out and moving west on the road, we are immediately spotted by another hoverbot to the north. Dylan quickly dispatches it with his Gauss Rifle. Moving north, we find a robot hiding behind a car. And we can destroy the final jamming tower. But nothing really happens. We don't get any quest updates. But we should still do it because we get a lot of experience for doing so. With the final jamming tower destroyed, we can move closer to the fence. Immediately our snipers begin to take pot shots at robots through the windows of a nearby building. Moving south along the fence, we can try to find an opening to fire at more of the robots inside this factory. But as we round a corner in the road, we find another behemoth. destroying the behemoth, we can move west. We find a staircase leading to an upper portion of this building, or we can follow the road south and then west. Our snipers begin shooting through the windows of this building all the way through to the other side, where a behemoth is walking around. But to make matters worse, there is a turret just around the corner in the middle of the road. We can't get too close, so we can try to use our snipers to find the right spot to destroy the turret from safety. Down, but there's another on the opposite side of the road, and we can do the same thing. We know there's a behemoth walking around on the other side of this building. I didn't want to walk west on the road to round a corner and be smack dab against the guy, so climbing the nearby staircase, we can try to find an angle to shoot at this guy from the rooftops. Looks like Harold found an enemy in this northern building. While he shoots at them through the windows, we can bring the rest of the squad up to open a northern door. Bringing in Cookie and sending her downstairs, we see all of the load lifters and robots that we shot at through the windows while on the other side of the exterior fence. When moving in, it looks like we already destroyed everything. That is, until we move west, where we find one more hiding. Bringing the squad in and down, we don't find any more enemies, though outside, a scurry bot appears. There is a crate in the northeastern corner of this building, and inside, a stack of 20 explosive rockets. We find a door against the southern wall, and through it we see one robot. Man, these robots are not lasting long against the power of the Gauss Rifle. Through the room and into the next, we find it empty, but here we find a staircase leading up to the next floor. Set in the southern wall is a door, which leads to an alleyway between this building and the next. Here we can loot the wreckages of the 2 turrets that our snipers destroyed from a distance. Each of the turrets has a small amount of microfusion cells. But with behemoths apparently wandering around, I didn't want to take my chances in the street. Heading back inside the building, we can take the staircase to the second floor, where we find another door in the southern wall that leads to a balcony. Moving the crew to the west, we can keep an eye out for anyone whom we can target. And sure enough, we find some robots wandering on platforms to the west. There are likely more deeper in that large building. We need to find a way there. Moving east, we find a catwalk that goes north. This just wraps around to the other side of this building where we found the staircase we used to get up here. But then the catwalk also goes south. Before we can walk very far, our long-range snipers pick up robots in a nearby room, and we fire at them through the windows. With this room clear, we can continue south. It's then Dylan picks up yet another robot way over there. But as soon as we fire on him... Ow, he triggers an alarm. Oh, great. Well, how are we going to do this? Well, reloading a save, instead of firing on him from distance, we can race past this building that we cleared a moment ago and try to track down this robot. okay? Well, he was in that room hiding. He came out to attack when he heard us, but we killed him before he could trigger the alarm. Or maybe that was him. Gosh, these robots are everywhere. Our perception picks up a wrecked hoverbot in this room, but first we need to backtrack a bit. We only came over here to prevent the robot from tripping the alarm. There was this other big building that we cleared that we need to explore first. So heading inside, we can loot the wreckages of the security robots we destroyed through the windows. In the northwestern corner of this top floor, we find a staircase leading down. But at the bottom, we find a bunch of security robots in a room that we can shoot at through a bunch of broken windows, and they can fire at us. Well, Cookie wasn't really in a position to take them all on herself, so bringing the squad down. That prototype EMP weapon is pretty great. We find ourselves in a room filled with oil drums. After looting the wreckages, we can try to destroy some of these drums to clear the room a bit. And sure enough, we find a footlocker hiding behind one. Inside the footlocker is a big book of science, 3 sticks of dynamite, and advanced lockpicking set to crowbar a monkey wrench and 2 stim packs. Destroying the others. Behind one, a hoverbot was hiding. That could have been awful. After destroying all of the oil drums, we see some irregularities in the wall behind this machinery. It almost looked like there was a crawl space back here. So, crouching down, we can try to explore it. And sure enough, there is. At the back of this room, we find a footlocker. Accessing it. Oh, and it was booby-trapped. Well, we can heal ourselves on up, then try to open the footlocker. Nothing happens. Can try again. Nothing. All right. Well, I thought maybe by tripping the booby trap, I had destroyed whatever was inside. So I reloaded a save, destroyed the robots in the room again, blew up all the drums again, and went in with Harold, whom I used to disarm the trap. But he, too, couldn't open this footlocker. Okay, so I thought, well, maybe it's locked, and they just didn't bother to give me a locked notification. So I sent in Clarice. But when I tried to pick it, nothing. This footlocker is just glitched or something. We can't open it. I'm not the only one to have had this problem. I looked it up afterwards, and it looks like this is a glitch. However, other players were able to examine the footlocker using the game editor, and apparently inside is a grenade launcher, 40mm grenade ammunition, and a stack of AP rockets. Now, we did see 2 other little nooks to the north, but when I tried to bring Harold over there, we can't creep into them. Moving out, we find a doorway to the south, which leads to a small hall we can use to open a door leading to another room. Inside, we can loot the wreckage of the robot we destroyed through the window of the last room. And here we find a high-tech locker, unlike any lockers we've seen before. It's locked, so bringing in Clarice, we can pick the lock, and inside, we find a Vindicator minigun, some ammunition, and a remote detonator. That's it for this room. From this ground level, we could open a door in the wall to the west, and we arrive back out on that north to south road, the one where we killed the behemoth, the one that was lined with those turrets we destroyed. But instead of wandering around the roads, we can try to explore the map from the catwalks that appear to connect most of these buildings. So heading back inside, we can take the staircase back up to the 2nd floor, head back out to the catwalks, and follow them past the alarm into the building where our perception picked up a hoverbot. We see that the catwalks continue on to the west. And here we find a staircase leading down, sending Harold out to explore the catwalks to the west. We finds a scurrybot, and it comes inside to attack. Racing inside to meet him at the stairway. And he brought a bunch of guys with him. Well, maybe that means we've cleared the room below. Healing up and heading downstairs. No, that's not what it meant at all. Oh, there were a lot of guys down here waiting for us. Wow, we've stumbled into a huge room on this level, and we got beat up pretty bad. But it was at this point that I had nearly exhausted my field medic first aid kit. I only had a few charges left. I was trying to ration them. Yeah, my guys can take a few more hits before they die. We find 2 lockers against the northern wall. Neither of them are booby-trapped, and neither of them are locked. Inside the first, we find 3 super stim packs, 100 Brotherhood dollars, ammunition, a sniper rifle, and some environmental armor. I'm guessing that if the robots have been bringing humans here to butcher and experiment on, that this must be some of the loot that they've taken from their corpses. And the next one, we find 5 more explosive rockets and a rocket launcher. This room continues off to the east, and to the west we find a door on the wall. Stepping outside, scurry bots, of course. Now, just to get our bearings, we can walk off to the west. We see to the south that we've reached the edge of the map. Continuing to the west, we arrive back at that north to south road. And further west, we see that break in the fence that we first saw while exploring the dirt road when we first arrived. So at this point, we've pretty much cleared the entire western portion of the map. Heading back to the building, we see a long alleyway between this southern fence and the southern side of the building. We could try to get around it that way, but I wanted to finish exploring inside first. So heading back inside, we see that this ground level is mostly clear. There is a door to the north leading to a courtyard area between these buildings. But now I'm just starting to get turned around, so one thing at a time. Back inside the building, we find a door in the eastern wall. But as we try to sneak out... Oh! Or scurry bots. Well, if there are more robots out that door, I think I want to fire at them from height. So heading back to that staircase in the middle of this room, we can go back up to the second floor. From here, since everything else on this floor is explored, we can take the catwalks to the west. Moving west, we find a bunch of air vents and pipes. Not a lot of room to move. Then we pass 2 giant smokestacks. And as we reach the western edge of this rooftop... Oh my god. A behemoth and a bunch of hoverbots. Their rockets nearly killed my guys, and the behemoth finished them off. I suppose it didn't help that they were almost all at half-life anyway. I tried attacking them from up here several more times. On the second attempt, I realized that the behemoth and the robots were actually patrolling. They were walking around in a big circle behind these giant metal silos. However, once they detect our presence, they charge us. And with so much space, it was very difficult to avoid being attacked from all sides. So I kept losing some of my guys. Again, I probably should have healed them up, but I didn't. Instead, I decided that what I needed to do was to somehow constrain this battlefield, keep them directly in front of me, narrowing the field of view through which they can attack me. And the best way to do that was to go back downstairs and try to lure them into this alleyway. Setting out our snipers and putting Cookie in the front, we can creep to the eastern side of the building to try to lure them in, and I had to attempt this a couple of times before I was successful. The first time, I was just a bit too close. They were able to close distance on me pretty quickly, and I lost Cookie in short order. So the second time, I made sure to keep my distance and I crouched everyone down. Staying way back, we forced them down this narrow corridor. The snipers make great use of this space. The rockets that the hoverbots fire can't hit us, and if they do, their aim is so bad that they don't do very much damage. The snipers pick off the hoverbots as they try to reach us down this long corridor. When destroyed, we see that the robots the behemoth brought with it are now lying prone trying to snipe at us. But we can creep a bit closer to make our snipers' hits hit harder. With them done, we see that the behemoth was actually stuck behind them. He begins to crawl closer, but he's too big to fit in this alleyway. He can't close distance, making his weapons much less effective. He retreats, and so we creep closer. Ooh, I think he actually played us there. He tried to lure us out of the alleyway and we fell for it. But we ended up surviving, despite being attacked by another robot in the middle of the fight. Our perception picks up another robot hiding behind this silo. We can send in Cookie. Oh, and another. We can send in Cookie. Cookie is really making good use of this Gatling laser. She had a level after the last mission, by the way, and I finally got her energy weapon skill close to 100. These behemoths really drop a lot of 50 caliber ammunition. On this wreckage was over 200 rounds of the stuff. This is another map of inventory management hell. Again, we don't have a vehicle, even though we are all wearing power armor. We're also lugging around a lot of really heavy weapons now. I ultimately had to drop most of the weapons I looted just so that I could walk away with all of the useful and really valuable ammunition. Well, on the second floor of the last building we explored, we did see some catwalks that went off to the north. We can probably reach all of the rest of the buildings on this map from those catwalks. But now we know that there are behemoths and other robots exploring the grounds, and they can shoot up at us while we're exploring those catwalks. So before I start going from building to building, I really need to clear the exterior. So remembering where we are now by these giant metal silos, we can move east. A bunch of scurrybots, and we reach a fence bordering the eastern side of the map. Moving north beside these buildings, we destroy more scurrybots as we move forward. Every now and then, a robot from the nearby catwalks and rooftops will try to shoot at us. But we don't have time to take him out, because as we continue north, we find another behemoth. But the AI of these behemoths seems to be broken or something. We are not even hiding in a particularly narrow alleyway right now. We're just really far away, because our snipers have excellent perception, and yet the behemoth appears to be confused, can't seem to target us. Since we know what it feels like to be targeted by a behemoth, I'm not exactly complaining. And it goes down, moving forward to loot the wreckage. Oh, they're just gonna be everywhere, aren't they? On the wreckage of the behemoth are 200 more rounds of 50 caliber ammunition. Southern border of the map clear. Eastern and western borders of the map clear. We now must clear this northern border of the map. Continuing west. More scurry bots. And then we reach another road going north to south. This road appears to go right into the complex of buildings. Due west of this road is another small junkyard. Here we find a bunch of ruined and rusting train engines and train cars, stacks of boxes and tires, rusting barrels and cars. No enemies, though. No boxes, no footlockers, no containers. Nothing here. If we follow it all the way to the west, we arrive on the western side of the building that we cleared just after destroying the final radio jammer tower. This is the one where we cleared all the robots and load lifters by shooting at them through the windows from the other side of the fence. So, we've made a big loop. We've now explored every edge of the map. We have but to explore the buildings occupying the eastern interior. So, retracing our steps and moving west, along the way, we find a turret. It's on a rooftop here, guarding this room. However, it doesn't fight back. And I think it's because we're not close enough yet. These turrets are pretty nasty, so it's great to take advantage of this opportunity while we can. Continuing east, we round the large building, past the wreckages of all the scurry bots we destroyed earlier, and back to the giant metal silos. And apparently we missed a scurry bot. Now that we are back at the silos, we can head back inside this long building and head up the stairs to the second floor. Then we can take the catwalks east until we arrive with one of two paths ahead of us. We can take a catwalk to the east going north, or a catwalk to the west going north. We'll start by taking the eastern one. It was here I finally decided to heal up my squad. But I also didn't want to finish off my field medic first aid kit, so taking my stack of over 70 stim packs that I've been collecting over the past several missions, we can go through almost half of them to heal up the entire squad. Moving north across the catwalk, we arrive on the rooftop of a nearby building. And from here, we can shoot at robots on other catwalks across the way. We find two buildings to the west that have rooftops that look like ship's sails. Let's explore these first. We can't access this bottom one from here, so taking a catwalk north, we get attacked by robots in the next building that can shoot at us through the window. Dylan begins firing upon another turret with his Gauss Rifle. This one was standing right next to the other one we destroyed from the road below. At the time, I didn't want to bother sitting here to attack it. It's not firing back. Maybe we're too far away. And it's blinking red. We'll deal with this turret later. Using Clarice, we can pick the lock and head inside to loot the dead. We destroyed many of the robots inside, but I thought there were a few left. We don't see any, however. Moving forward. That's where they were. Hoverbots hiding against the western wall. Moving downstairs. Oh, God. Those hoverbots. Well, we survived, and only Cookie took a little bit of damage. Here we find the butchered remains of humans. Oh no. Are we too late? Have they already killed Kerr? But we made sure that no alarm was triggered. Maybe they killed these people before we even arrived. On the corpse of one civilian is a paramedic's bag, all right, and some Rad-X. The next civilian is empty, but the final civilian has a happy pie. We find a door in the western wall that leads back out to the alleyway with all the spider bots that we cleared earlier. Moving west, we can loot the wreckages, but from here we find only one path forward that we have yet to explore, and that's to move down a hallway to the north. past a few robots, we find a door in the southern wall, which leads to a courtyard. This courtyard is illuminated with one light post. And as we step forward, oh great. Any more? Moving out to find out. Oh yeah. Ooh, but they don't want to go inside to our trap, so heading back out. There we go. I decided to take Clarice to explore the small courtyards and alleyways between all of these big buildings. See if there was anything interesting. Lots of spider bots. Heading back out and then taking this alleyway to the south, we can follow it all the way through this huge complex of buildings back to the road. We've explored most of these buildings to the west and south of us, but not this big one with the garage. We'll have to come back and get it later. On our way back, we see a door leading into one of the buildings that had a roof that looks like ship sails. This was the first one that we walked over on our way to the second one. Remember, there was no door that led inside this one. However, the interior is pretty disappointing. We find construction robots and conveyor belts, and that's it. Nothing inside. So heading out and moving north, we can go down an alleyway between the two to find another spider bot. So that's all of the alleyways and courtyards between the buildings explored. Heading back to the lone lamppost in the middle of this courtyard, we can rejoin the squad in the building. This large room has no other exit except for a staircase to the north. Before heading up, we can loot 2 lockers against the western wall. One has an assortment of grenades and mines and a remote detonator. The other has a grenade launcher and 40mm grenades. Heading upstairs, we arrive at a catwalk overlooking this large room. We can take it west, then south. It's pretty narrow, so it's mostly hidden on the other side of this wall. It's kind of hard to see. We do find a door in the western wall, which leads to another exterior platform. From here, we can move south and then west. Moving west leads to another platform with a door that heads back inside the building we just came from. Apparently, the interior catwalk wraps all around the inside of this wall. To the south is a door that leads to the room where we found the dead civilian bodies. From here, we can follow this roof ledge south or take a catwalk to the next building to the west. As we get closer, we get attacked by a turret, and it kills Clarice. Was really confused by this, so reloading a save, we can go back and try again. Creeping more slowly this time. We don't see a turret against any of these walls. No turret guarding this door, and yet... well, we fired at a turret through a solid wall. These walls don't have windows. But it was here that my game actually crashed. So, reloading yet another save, this time I decided to skip this doorway completely. We'll try to come back and figure out the turret situation later. So following the catwalk on this level, it wraps around the southern side of this building back to the western catwalk that we could have taken from the level with those 2 giant smokestacks. Remember, we had to choose between the western or the eastern one. Well, now we've done a big loop, and we know where this leads. So moving back across, we find a doorway in a wall to the north leading back into this big building, but just south of it, a small building, and our perception picks up 2 security bots inside. There are no windows into this room, no cracks in the walls, only this one door. This is a recipe for disaster. The space in front of this door is really narrow. We can't just open the door and back up a bit and have Dylan and Clarice take them out from a distance. So, after picking the lock on the door and moving our snipers back, we can put Cookie in front with her Gatling laser and then crowd everyone else around behind her, jammed into this doorway. My goal is to just overpower them with our firepower as soon as we open the door. Trying it out. They get a few attacks on Cookie, but they go down pretty quick. In the back of the room, we find 2 lockers. In one locker, 4 toolkits. In another locker, yet another Vindicator minigun and a ton of Vindicator minigun ammunition, which I just left at this point. These Vindicator miniguns drop like candy and they're just way too heavy. Now, heading out of this room, there was that door to the north, but before we go in there, I wanted to finish exploring this exterior catwalk. So moving west and following the catwalk north, then west, then north, then east, then north. We arrive on top of that large garage door on the bottom level to find a door to the east, and inside... Oh, it's a behemoth! We got a few shots off on it, but then it walked directly beneath us. He's out of range. Having Cookie step into the room, yeah, he's beneath us. We can't target him. Heading back out, we see that the catwalk ends here. We can't go any further north or west, so we have a couple of choices. We can go through the door to the east. We find that the platform we are on continues to the north. But as we go north... Got it. That behemoth right beneath us was able to get at us. So reloading a save, let's see if we can sneak in behind it by heading through this door in the northern wall right next to that small room where we killed the 2 security robots. We arrive on a platform overlooking this large room where we know the behemoth is walking around. As we follow the catwalk to the west, the behemoth finds us. We can set out our snipers, which works pretty well, but for some reason, this behemoth likes to target Cookie. Just takes her down first. I tried this several times. Reloading a save, we can do the exact same thing again and hide Cookie behind this wall. It was then I thought, well, maybe if I sneak up beside it, Cookie can get some shots off without getting killed. What? Does this thing have a vendetta against Cookie or something? Okay, reloading a save again. We can hide Cookie behind this wall and leave her here. And that's all it took. With the behemoth dead, we can start exploring the interior of this last large building by following the catwalks to the west. We immediately find a staircase leading up. We'll come back to that later. I wanted to explore this floor and the one beneath us first. The catwalk moves north and then east through a door back outside, and we realize that it's here where earlier we kept getting killed by that mysterious turret that could shoot through walls. So I did a hard save here. I had the squad walk through this door to see if we could target this mysterious turret. Why do these robots hate Cookie? And where is the stinking turret? Well, reloading that hard save I just did, we can try to use Clarice. We know her perception is good, and she has a really powerful energy weapon. I started walking around this little box just trying to target it. I thought it was going to be a failure until... Oh, it gets one shot off on us and nearly kills Clarice. But I moved her just in the nick of time, and she managed to destroy it. We'll find out exactly where this turret was in a moment. Heading back to the squad, we can use the paramedics bag we just found to fully heal Clarice. Then, taking the squad down these stairs... We destroy one robot to the west. Another one, apparently hiding in a nearby room, begins shooting at us from the north. I never did see this robot, but the squad did, and they killed it. Moving north, we don't find anything in this area. We can loot the wreckage of the robot we destroyed. There is a door in the western wall that leads back to the alleyways and courtyards between these buildings that we explored with Clarice earlier. Moving south, we find a southern door that does the same thing. Continuing west, we can loot the wreckage of the behemoth. We find more 50 caliber ammunition. There is a larger garage door to the south, but we already explored outside. So moving west, at last, we find something new. A terminal. I tried using Oxhorn's science skill, but that did nothing. Then activating the terminal. Nothing. No sound, no beep, no holotape, no indication of what this could possibly do. I'll connect the dots as to what this terminal does a bit later. Passing the large garage door that we know leads back out to that north to south road we cleared earlier, we can continue north and then move west until we find a robot hiding behind some stairs. There is a staircase in this room leading up, and also a door leading into a small room to the right. The door is locked. We can pick it with Clarice. Opening the door and sneaking in, we don't find anything on this level, but we do find a staircase leading up. Heading upstairs. Luring it down. On the wreckage of this robot is a very rare item. Poison. A hypodermic needle full of powerful poison. It's extremely rare. We only find 2 in the entire game. One on this random robot, and another during a special encounter. So, useful for the collector, I guess. We see this staircase in this room just leads to a catwalk lining this interior wall. This is the catwalk we could have walked down had we continued to explore through that smaller door above the larger garage door where we first encountered the behemoth. So we already know what's over there. So heading back into the small room, we can take the staircase up to the next floor. Here we find a crate against the northern wall. Inside the crate is another paramedic's bag, more grenade ammunition, and a rocket. But there is no exit to this room, except for a staircase that leads to the 3rd floor. Moving on up, we find ourselves in a room surrounded by machinery. Moving west, we find a door to the south. Bringing Cookie outside. Golly. She can really take her hits. Those rockets crippled her arm during that fight, so I had to switch to the Browning. Bringing Oxhorn out, he can use a doctor's bag on her to repair the broken arm. We arrive on the 3rd floor rooftop, and here we find a room to the south. Our perception picks up a couple of enemies in this room. There is a door in the western wall of this room, but we also find a bunch of windows. I started by trying to use the same trick we used to kill those security robots in the last room. However, when I tried to open the door, she says, blocked. And I'm not sure why. There was a small step that we had to climb to get to this door. I'm guessing that because Oxhorn is standing so close next to her that she just can't get the door open. So I had to move the squad back. I then tried to just open the door with Cookie to see what was inside. Oh, well, that's a lot more than just 2 robots. I then went around to the other side to try and find another door. Okay, yeah, they can shoot through those windows, but if they can shoot out, we can shoot in. Grabbing our snipers, Dylan and Clarice, we find a lot of room on this 3rd level with which to work. Bringing them south, we find great line of sight into this room, targeting one robot. Then moving ever so slightly east, we can target the next. Then tiptoeing further east, we can target the next. And so on and so forth. With that, they're all done. And we can use Cookie to open the front door and step inside. And amongst the robot wreckages are a number of civilian bodies. On one, we find another copy of Naked Moose magazine. I have quite a collection of these now. The next one is empty. The final one has some mentats. Then on the body of one of the robots, we find a Gauss Minigun. What? With 120 rounds of Gauss ammunition. The MEC Gauss is of Chinese design. It uses multiple electromagnetic fields to propel over 90,000 rounds per minute to relativistic velocities. Really? The Gauss Minigun is of Chinese design? I wonder then how the U.S. Secret Service got blueprints for it, as we learned during the events of Fallout 76. At any rate, it has a minimum strength requirement of only 6. Cool. Uses 2mm EC as ammunition and weighs 30 pounds. This absolute beast of a minigun is the best minigun in the entire game. It uses the big gun skill instead of the energy weapon skill. It does between 60 and 80 damage per shot, but it does 20 shots per round. That's 1,200 to 1,600 damage per volley. It has an AP cost of 5, a range of 35, and an ammo capacity of 80. I mean, this is just an insane weapon, but I'm not gonna use it right now because the 2mm EC ammunition is really rare and expensive. Remember, the 200 rounds we bought back at Bunker Epsilon cost us nearly 10,000 Brotherhood dollars. This minigun is gonna tear through this ammunition. I love this thing, but I think I'm probably gonna save it for a special moment. We find a bookshelf in this room. On the bookshelf is a scout manual, a big book of science, and a first aid manual. We can give all of these to Oxhorn to make use of his comprehension perk. There are 2 other items in this room that are easy to miss. On the desks in the middle of the room is a first aid book. That's 2 we can find in this room alone. And then a first aid kit. With this room clear, we can move across the platform to explore a room to the west. But this room is completely empty. No furniture or anything. It's almost as if the developers forgot to decorate this room. So heading back out to the 3rd floor rooftop, we find a vending machine standing outside of yet another room. Opening the door and stepping in. What is this? We find a pile of butchered bodies to the north, and lying on an operating table in the middle of the room is General Barnaky's body? No!
You have found the lobotomized body of General Barnaky. You may proceed to the extraction point.
Barnaky's dead. They killed him in the end. But wait, where's his head? They lobotomized him and took his head? Why? On the body, we find the General's locket. General Barnaky's locket. It contains a picture of himself and his wife, Maria. We now have 2 of General Barnaky's mementos for his wife. This locket we just picked up off his body, and the goodbye holotape he recorded for his wife that we picked up when we killed Gamoran. We see a staircase to the south, but before we go and explore it, we can head out a door to the north. Outside, we find a small room with those 2 turrets that we've seen while exploring the exterior. The one to the north we destroyed while exploring outside, and the one to the south is the one that kept shooting at us through walls. We managed to destroy them both. But remember that terminal that we activated in the room where we killed the behemoth? This terminal shuts off these turrets. So we destroyed the turrets before we found the terminal we needed to use to shut them off. Both of the turrets have hundreds of rounds of 50 caliber ammunition. Still no idea what those alarms are for. They didn't appear to have any effect. These turrets were guarding a small room, and in the room is Kerr the merchant. And humorously, despite the fact that he's lying on an operating table surrounded by blood and even covered in his own blood, when we hover over him, we learn that he's unhurt. Right.
I'm surprised you made it here without being shackled, warrior. The hard look in your eyes speaks volumes of your intentions. Let me guess, you're looking at my battered, broken body that is bursting with tubes and machinery, and you realize I'm beyond rescue. No, beyond rescue, and now a threat. Well, you're right. I can't hold out forever. Just tell them that I kept my mouth shut, that I'm a man of honor. Please, I just want the pain to stop. So do it. Kill me.
Oh no, we can't save him? We have to kill him? Let me die, he says.
Oh, what are you waiting for? Can't you see what they did to my body? Kill me. Stop the pain. I'm begging you.
Is this our only option? I want to die. Please, he says. Kill me. Please. They stuck the food tube in the wrong end. Ugh, pressure. Oh, they gave him a food enema. Poor guy. My body ruined.
You sadistic son of a bitch. You're gonna sit there and watch me suffer. I see. You don't have the balls to do it. I hope the robots catch you too. Oh God, mercy. I'm all out of faith.
Well, before we decide Kerr's fate, we can loot a locker against the northern wall. Inside, we find small energy cells, a paramedic's bag, a toolkit, and a cattle prod. I wonder if they used this on Kerr. They put tubes in my butt, he says. Well, our choice here affects the ending. We can walk away, and I'll show you exactly what happens if we choose to do so. Or we can put Kerr the merchant out of his misery. This is made slightly more complicated by the fact that he's neutral towards us, so we can't actually directly target him with our weapons. We could destroy him by targeting the nearby ground with a thrown explosive, by planting a trap or a mine, or by using burst mode on any of our weapons to shoot the ground near to him, which is what I chose to do using Cookie.
You have released Kerr from his ruined mortal coil. You may proceed to the extraction point. Congratulations, murderer.
Hey, man, Decker. You told me to kill him. Calling me a murderer? That was a sympathy killing. Well, that was no murder. I mean, I don't think it was murder. I mean, it's not as bad as, like, anything else I've done for the Brotherhood to this point. You guys have freaking internment camps, and he's calling me a murderer. Jerk. I mean, it's funny, but we actually lose karma for killing Kerr in this way. Which is weird, right? Not only do we have orders to kill him, but he asks us to kill him, and yet we still lose karma. Now, this is a problem because karma is factored into which ending we get at the very end of the game. I don't know exactly how much karma we lose. I checked my karma before killing him, and it said Guardian of the Wastes. I checked again after killing him with my weapons, and it still said Guardian of the Wastes. However, reading online, I'm told that we lose a lot of karma. However, there is one way to kill Kerr that doesn't give us a karma penalty. And that's to use the vial of poison that we picked up off of the robot wreckage below. There are only the 2 in the game, as I said. We can put it in our active item slot, click on it, and then click on Kerr. Wait for it. Keep waiting. Yeah, this one takes a bit.
You have released Kerr from his ruined mortal coil. You may proceed to the extraction point. Congratulations, murderer.
But Decker still calls us a murderer. It doesn't affect that, at least. But killing him with the poison, we avoid a karma penalty. I know, you'd think poison would be a more miserable way to die. It's faster and easier to just shoot him. He's instantly killed, his pain instantly ends. But no, the most ethical way to kill him is to inject him with poison and watch him slowly die? Where is the logic here? Whatever, at any rate. With that, we've completed all of our objectives. And all of the optional ones. We destroyed the 4 jamming towers. We found out what happened to General Barnaky. We neutralized Kerr, and we rescued the prisoners. Oh wait, that reminds me. We forgot to tell Sebastian that he could join us. So winding our way back through this facility, we can head back to the internment camp and tell Sebastian that we're ready to go. About time, he shouts. Follow me to battle. And just like last time, he leaves the building, and he taunts the robots the entire way. I'm going to kill them all. I will teach them to fear mutants. He shouts and runs and shouts, all the way out of the internment camp to the road, which he follows to the east, then rounds a corner, and stops right in front of those 2 ground-based turrets we destroyed towards the beginning of the map. Here he stays. We can't talk to him any further. He doesn't move any further. It looks like he's pretty much programmed to die unless we completely clear the place before he can. So here we'll leave him to ponder his eternal existence in Scott City. When done, we see that the exit grid appears all around us. We can find any break in the fence to leave the map.
At ease, brother. General Barnaky's death is a great blow to the morale of the Brotherhood. He served our righteous cause ever since he was old enough to carry a weapon. His diligence and determination has helped form the Brotherhood into what it is today. He might have been a little untrusting of non-humans, but his heart was always looking out after his fellow man, and we will mourn his passing. We must understand why the calculator is ordering his inhuman machines to gather the brains of humans. Our scribes believe that's how they extract information. This is disturbing news if they have access to General Barnaky's knowledge.
If we left Kerr alive, we get the following ending.
You have failed to rescue or neutralize Kerr the Merchant. I do not understand how you could leave the premises without accomplishing this. Repo Squad was sent in after to ensure the facility was rendered useless and instead found Merchant Kerr. He was found dead. It seems what killed him, besides his numerous wounds, was a feeding tube that was applied to his anus instead of his mouth. He died a horrible death of internal hemorrhaging. However, we do not know if he informed the robot of our secrets before he died. This incident will be entered on your permanent record. Now, if you excuse me, I have the unpleasant task to inform Maria Barnaky on the fate of her husband. Dismissed.
If we neutralize Kerr, we get the following ending.
Now on to other business. Kerr the Merchant has peddled his last bauble. It is unfortunate that one of the wasteland's few honest merchants had to perish, but the war comes first. We have no room for weakness in these missions, and you have not disappointed us. Our job is not always pleasant, but it is a job that needs doing. Considering his physical condition, it was a mercy killing anyway. I only hope Kerr truly withheld information from the robot aggressors. Now, I have the unpleasant task to inform Maria Barnaky on the fate of her husband. That is all, brother. Dismissed.
Incidentally, we get a completely unique ending if we don't discover the body of General Barnaky, which I think is practically impossible since we have to walk right by it to find Kerr. At any rate, here's the ending.
You better sit down for this, brother. After you left Scott City, Repo Squad was sent in to ensure the facility was rendered useless to the calculator's forces. I'm sorry to say they have made a grisly discovery. General Barnaky's body was found in one of the robot's operating rooms. He was presumed dead for about 12 hours. That's not all. The top of the general's head was cut off and his brain was removed. We don't know why, but the calculator is now lobotomizing pure-blood humans. Repo Squad found approximately 300 brainless corpses in a shallow grave outside the compound. Our scribes believe that's how they extract information. This is disturbing news if they have access to General Barnaky's knowledge.
With that, we appear back at the world map, and we can take the tank to Bunker Epsilon. We walk away from this mission horrified by these robots. They're not content to just murder every living human being they find. No, they bring them back, put them in camps, butcher them, torture them, and then pile their corpses in the corner. They murdered General Barnaky. And what did they do to his head? Why didn't we find it with his body? We walk away with so many questions. But sadly, I'm all out of time. To find out how this story continues, be sure to tune in to my next episode. I publish new Fallout videos every week on my channel, so if you don't want to miss the next episode, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have already, but you still feel like you're missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a shirt shop with completely unique designs that you can't find anywhere else. My designs come on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes, and in a wide array of colors. You can find them on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. Patrons and members get access to a member-only channel on my Discord server, and YouTube members get little badges that appear next to their names in the comment sections of my videos, and access to ox emojis that they can use during my live streams and in the comments of my videos. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with more brand new videos.